If you've noticed your ankles looking puffy by the end of the day, your feet itching for no reason you can point to, and you're tired no matter how much you sleep, those three things might not be three separate problems. They could be coming from one place, and that one place is your liver. Now stay with me here, because this is something most people never get told. When your liver starts to struggle, it usually doesn't announce it the way you'd expect. No big dramatic pain, no warning light, and there's a reason for that. Your liver has almost no pain nerves of its own, so it can be under real strain for years and never hurt at all. But your feet? Your feet talk. They're the farthest point from your heart. They're the lowest part of your body, so gravity pulls everything downward and settles it there. And they depend completely on two things only a healthy liver can provide: the right proteins in your blood to hold fluid where it belongs, and clean, steady circulation. So when the liver slips, the feet are very often the first place it shows. Quietly, in small ways that are easy to brush off as just getting older. And that's exactly the problem, because most of these signs get ignored, written off as aging or tired feet, or I've just been on them too much, right at the stage when noticing them matters the most. So here's what I want to do today. I'm going to walk you through 12 specific signs in your feet and lower legs that can point back to your liver. Some of them you've probably seen and never thought twice about. A couple are going to surprise you. And every single one of them is something you can check tonight, sitting right where you are. No doctor, no appointment, no cost. I'll also explain why each one happens. Because once you understand the mechanism, you stop guessing and you start actually knowing what your body's telling you. And look, I want to be clear about something before we go one step further. Having one of these signs does not mean you have liver disease. Most of them have other explanations too. The point isn't to scare you. The point is that when you see 2 or 3 of these together, that's your body asking you to pay attention. And paying attention early is the whole game with the liver. Because here's what makes this organ different. The liver is the one organ in your body that can actually repair itself, but only if you catch the trouble while there's still healthy tissue left to do the repairing. Catch it early, and you have real options. Wait until it's screaming at you, and your options narrow fast. So this isn't a fear video. This is a noticing video. Let's get into what your liver actually does, and why, when it's overwhelmed, your feet are the first to send up the flare. So your liver is running something like 500 different jobs at any given moment. But for what we're talking about today, 2 of them matter most. The first one, your liver makes a protein called albumin. And albumin has one specific job that affects your feet directly. It's the thing that holds fluid inside your blood vessels. The blood in your vessels is basically salty water, and albumin is what keeps that water from leaking out into the surrounding tissue. It holds the line. When your liver is healthy, it makes plenty of albumin, and the fluid stays where it belongs, in the pipes. But when the liver is struggling, albumin production drops, and the moment there's not enough albumin holding that line, fluid starts seeping out of the vessels and into the tissue around them. And where does it go? Down. Gravity takes over. It pools in the lowest place it can find, your ankles, your feet. That's why the feet swell before almost anywhere else. It's not random. It's physics meeting chemistry. Now the second job is blood flow. Nearly all the blood from your gut runs through your liver to get cleaned before it heads back to your heart. When the liver gets stiff or scarred, that traffic backs up, like a clog in the main drain. Pressure builds behind it, and that back pressure pushes even more fluid out into your legs and feet. So now you've got 2 forces working together. Less albumin holding fluid in, more pressure pushing it out. Both roads lead to the same place, your feet. Here's where it gets important, because this is bigger than your feet. That same struggling liver, the one letting fluid leak into your ankles, is the same liver that's supposed to be pulling toxins out of your blood. When it can't keep up, those toxins keep circulating. And one of the first places you feel that is in your head. Brain fog, walking into a room and forgetting why. That fuzzy, can't quite think clearly feeling you've been blaming on age. It's the same liver that makes the bile you need to break down your food. When it slows down, digestion gets sluggish, bloating, that heavy feeling after meals, the sense that your stomach just isn't handling things the way it used to. And it's the same liver that stores and releases your energy through the day. When it's overwhelmed, you feel that as exhaustion, the deep kind that sleep doesn't touch, the kind where you wake up already tired. You see where this is going? The swollen feet, the brain fog, the bloating, the fatigue. Those aren't four separate things breaking down at the same time by bad luck. It's one organ, struggling, sending signals into four different rooms of the house. Same fire, different rooms, and your feet are just the room with the window. The place you can actually see it from the outside. So now that you understand what's driving all of this, let's go through the 12 signs themselves, starting with the one most people see first and dismiss the fastest. Number 1, swelling in your feet and ankles that leaves a dent. This is the big one. The one almost everyone notices and almost everyone explains away. Here's how to actually check it. Press your thumb into the top of your foot or just above the ankle bone. Hold it there for a few seconds. Then let go. If the skin springs right back, good. But if it leaves a little dent that takes a moment to fill back in, that's called pitting, and that's not ordinary puffiness. That's fluid sitting in the tissue. The exact fluid we talked about a minute ago, the kind that leaks out when there isn't enough albumin holding the line. And this is more common than people realize. In one study of just over 200 patients with liver cirrhosis, swelling in the feet showed up in more than 60% of them. 6 in 10. It's one of the most common physical signs there is, and one of the most overlooked, because we've all been told a little swelling is just what happens when you get older. Sometimes it is, but if it pits and it's there most days, that's worth a second look. Number 2, and this is the quieter cousin of the first one, a sock line or a shoe line that won't fade. You take your socks off at night, and there's a deep groove pressed into your skin, or your shoes feel tighter by evening than they did that morning. Same pair you've worn for years. That's early fluid. Before the swelling is dramatic enough to even call it swelling. It's the first whisper of the same problem, and it's the stage where noticing actually buys you something. Number 3, itching. And specifically, itching on your feet and the soles, with no rash to explain it. Now this one catches people off guard, so stay with me. When the liver can't clear things properly, bile salts can build up under the skin, and those bile salts irritate the nerve endings, which your brain reads as an itch. A deep, maddening itch, often worse at night, often on the soles and the palms, with nothing to see on the surface. So what does that mean for you? It means an itch with no rash, no dry patch, no bug bite, especially on the feet, isn't nothing. It's a signal coming from the inside out. Number 4, a yellow tint, to your skin or to the whites of your eyes or even to your toenails. This is the famous one, jaundice. It happens when a yellow pigment called bilirubin, something your liver is supposed to clear out, builds up instead because the liver's fallen behind. But here's what most people get wrong about it. They're waiting to turn bright yellow, like something out of a cartoon. It almost never starts that way. It starts subtle. A faint yellow, cast you only catch in natural daylight. A change in the toenails. The whites of your eyes looking just a little less white than they used to. Remember what I said at the very start, the liver speaks quietly first. This is one of those quiet first words. By the time it's obvious, it's been talking for a while. So those are the 4 you can see. Now let's get into the ones you feel, because this is where the warnings stop sitting on the surface and start reaching into the nerves themselves. Number 5, your toenails turning white. Specifically, most of the nail going pale and cloudy with just a thin band of pink or brown left at the very tip. It has a name, Terry's nails, and it's one of the most strongly linked nail changes to liver trouble there is. A study published in the American Journal of Gastroenterology looked at 1,000 patients. In the ones with cirrhosis, this white nail pattern showed up in about a quarter of them, and statistically, liver scarring was the single strongest thing connected to it. In severe liver disease, some research puts it as high as 80%. Why does it happen? The nail itself is clear. What you're actually looking at is the nail bed underneath, the tissue and tiny blood vessels below the nail. When the liver changes how that tissue gets its blood supply, the bed turns pale and cloudy, and the normal pink you'd see through a healthy nail just disappears. So look at your toenails in good light. Mostly white, with only a sliver of normal color at the tip. That's worth knowing about. Number 6, tingling. Pins and needles in your feet. That buzzing, prickling, my foot's half asleep feeling. When you haven't been sitting on it, haven't had your legs crossed, and it's happening all on its own. That's a nerve signal. And this is where the numbers really get your attention. In that same group of cirrhosis patients, when researchers actually tested the nerves directly, more than half, 53%, had real, measurable nerve damage in their feet and legs. Tingling was one of the most common complaints in nearly half of them. Let that land for a second. More than half, and a lot of them had no idea their liver was the reason. Number 7, and this is the other side of that same coin, numbness, loss of feeling. The nerve damage doesn't stop at tingling. As it goes on, you start to lose sensation. The floor feels farther away than it should. You don't feel the bathwater temperature as clearly. A pebble gets into your shoe and you don't notice it for an hour. And this is where it stops being a curiosity and starts being about your safety. Because the feeling in your feet is how you stay steady. It's how your body knows where the ground is. When that fades, your balance goes with it. And that's the doorway to falling. Number 8, cramps in your feet, your toes, your calves, especially at night. In a study of 150 people with cirrhosis, 2 out of 3 were dealing with muscle cramps, and the lower body was the worst of it. The calves, the toes. The cramps were tied to low albumin and to the shifts in fluid and minerals the liver normally helps keep balanced. So the same imbalance behind the swelling is behind the cramping. One root cause, 2 faces. So if you're getting yanked out of sleep by a knotted calf or a cramping foot night after night, that's not just old legs. That can be the very same thing, showing up a different way. And here's what I want you to really sit with for a minute. When you put these together, the numb feet, the cramping, the balance quietly slipping, this is exactly how independence starts to go. Not in one big dramatic event, in small ones. I think about a message someone left me once. They said their father had been the most active man they knew, did his own yard every Saturday, walked to the coffee shop every single morning, got down on the floor to wrestle with the grandkids. And it wasn't a heart attack or a bad fall that changed everything for him. It was that his feet slowly stopped telling him where the ground was. He got unsteady. Then he got scared to walk on his own. Then he just stopped. And his whole world got small, very fast. That's the part that gets me. Because by the time those nerve signals are loud and impossible to ignore, a lot of the easiest chances to act on them are already behind you. But you're hearing this now, while they're still quiet, while there's still room to do something about it. And that is the whole reason I'm laying this out the way I am, not to frighten you, but so the small signs get the attention the big ones would have demanded too late. So with that in mind, let's finish the list, because the last 4 tie this whole picture together. Number 9, restless legs at night. That crawling, can't get comfortable, have to move them feeling the moment you lie down. You shift, you stretch, you hang a foot off the side of the bed, and the urge to move just won't quit. In one study of people with liver cirrhosis, 55% met the criteria for restless leg syndrome. More than half. That's far above what you'd see in the general population. The leading explanation is that when the liver isn't filtering the blood well, the byproducts left behind start to irritate the nervous system, and your legs are where you feel it. So if your legs come alive the second your head hits the pillow, and you've never had a real answer for why, this belongs on the list of things to look into. Number 10. Red, blotchy, mottled soles. Turn your foot over and look at the bottom. If the soles look unusually red or patchy, especially across the heel and the ball of the foot, that can be a circulation sign tied back to the liver. What's behind it is this. A struggling liver changes the balance of certain hormones in your blood because it can't break them down the way it used to. One result is that the small blood vessels near the surface of the skin widen and flush. On the palms and the soles, that shows up as that reddish, blotchy look. And it's the same shift driving the next sign. Number 11. Little spider-like veins on your lower legs and ankles. Small red marks with thin lines branching out from a center point, like a tiny spider or a little starburst sitting just under the skin. 1 or 2 on their own isn't much, but several of them showing up, particularly clustered on the lower legs, is a recognized marker of liver strain. Same root as the red soles, those excess hormones the liver isn't clearing, opening up the small vessels. Notice how many of these keep tracing back to the same two things: fluid the liver can't manage, and blood the liver can't keep clean. Same fire, different rooms. Number 12, heavy, weak legs and cold feet. That feeling like your legs are full of sand by the end of the day. Or feet that stay cold no matter the socks, the blanket, the season. When circulation slows and fluid builds in the tissue, your legs are literally carrying more weight and working harder to move the blood through. So they feel heavy, they tire fast, and the feet at the very end of the line run cold. So step back with me for a second and look at the whole picture. Swelling, sock lines, itching, yellowing, white nails, tingling, numbness, cramps, restless legs, red soles, spider veins, heavy, cold feet. 12 different signs, and almost every one of them leads back to a single organ doing too much with too little. That's the part I most want you to carry out of this. Not any one sign by itself. The pattern. Because 2 or 3 of these showing up together is your body connecting the dots for you. The same dots you might once have handed off to 4 different explanations. Tired legs, dry skin, old age, bad sleep. And here's the hopeful side of one root cause. When you support the liver, you're not fixing one thing. You're easing the load on all of it at the same time. The energy, the digestion, the mind feeling a little clearer, the feet feeling more like your own again. So what can you actually do? 2 simple things. The first costs almost nothing, and you might already be doing it. Coffee. The research here is genuinely strong. Pooled studies show regular coffee drinkers have meaningfully lower rates of liver scarring, and in large population data, 2 to 3 cups a day was tied to roughly a 46% lower risk of dying from chronic liver disease. Not the sugary, creamy kind, just coffee. It won't undo serious damage, and it's not a cure. But as a daily habit that quietly protects this organ, few things are this easy or this cheap. The second one is the step that actually answers the question. If you spotted 2 or 3 of these signs in your own feet tonight, ask your doctor for a simple liver blood panel. It's one of the most routine, affordable tests there is, a small blood draw. And it can tell you plainly how your liver is doing, long before any of this turns into something serious. That's the whole move. Look, notice the pattern. Get the simple test. I want to leave you with one thought. Picture where you want to be a year from now. Nothing dramatic. Just walking out to the mailbox without thinking twice about it. Getting down on the floor with someone you love, and getting back up on your own. Your own yard, your own groceries, your own 2 feet steady under you. That life isn't protected by one big heroic decision. It's protected by noticing the small things while they're still small. And you did exactly that today, just by sitting with this all the way through. So go take a good look at your feet tonight. And if something on this list looked familiar, make the call. Not out of fear, out of respect for the years you've still got ahead of you. If this was useful to you, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll keep bringing you straight, honest answers like this one. Take good care of yourself. I'll see you in the next one.